Decaffeination with water process, using natural water and carbon filters instead of chemical solvents to remove caffeine. Water process, decaffeination, a chemical-free method. Hi everyone. The water process for decaffeinating coffee, which is valued for being entirely free of chemical solvents and for helping to retain the coffee bean's original rich flavor, is the subject of our in-depth investigation. The industry standard of eliminating 97% to 99.9% of the caffeine is generally attained via this procedure. It depends solely on water, carbon filtering, and the inherent characteristics of osmosis and solubility. The usual procedure for water processing entails first producing a caffeine-free flavorful liquid and then using that liquid to carefully remove the caffeine from raw beans. Let's go over each stage of the procedure. Step 1. Producing the green coffee extract, GCE. The initial and most important stage is to make a special solvent called green coffee extract, GCE, which will be utilized several times throughout the decaffeination process. The first step is to immerse a batch of raw green coffee beans in extremely hot filtered water. All the water-soluble components of the beans, including the caffeine and the wanted flavor molecules, the oils, sugars, and other flavor precursors, are dissolved and extracted by the hot water. The soaking process goes on until all of these coffee ingredients have been dissolved in the water. The first batch of green beans is frequently thrown away after having given up the majority of its caffeine and flavor. In producing the saturated solution, they have accomplished their goal. The water, which is now highly saturated and contains all of the coffee's essence and caffeine, is filtered through a series of activated carbon filters. The porosity of these filters is precisely regulated. The charcoal traps and filters out the bigger non-polar caffeine molecules, but it allows the smaller molecules that carry the flavor chemicals, such coffee oils and sugars, to pass through freely. Water that is completely infused with all the delectable coffee flavor chemicals, but is now nearly caffeine-free, is what remains, the green coffee extract, GCE. This is the most important part of the process, since it stops the fresh beans from losing their taste in the subsequent step. Step 2. Removing caffeine from new beans. Water is used to gently clean and rehydrate new batches of raw green coffee beans. By altering the moisture content of the beans, this process primes them for the ensuing caffeine extraction by making them more receptive and porous. After that, the fresh green beans are placed in huge stainless steel tanks that have been filled with the unique, flavor-rich green coffee extract, GCE. The physics behind this phenomenon is fascinating. The differences in concentration are explained by the principle of osmosis. The flavor chemicals are already present in the GCE at a high saturated concentration, so there is no reason for the flavor chemicals in the new beans to migrate. For these molecules, the concentration gradient is almost non-existent. However, the new green beans have a high concentration of caffeine, while the GCE has very little. Due to this high concentration gradient, caffeine spontaneously moves from the beans into the GCE. The GCE continuously circulates around the coffee beans for a set amount of time, generally 8 to 10 hours. The extract is continuously filtered through the activated carbon filters as the caffeine exits the beans and enters the GCE. This continuous filtration process eliminates the recently extracted caffeine, maintaining the caffeine level in the GCE at nearly zero, which in turn keeps the strong gradient that forces the caffeine out of the beans. Step 3. Drying and completing. Before roasting and storing the beans, they must be prepped once they have attained the necessary level of decaffeination. At least 97% of the caffeine has been extracted. The entire decaffeinated bean is taken out of the GCE mixture. They must still be dried gently and gradually to their ideal moisture level before roasting, because they still retain a lot of moisture from the procedure. Vertical or cylindrical dryers are frequently used for this purpose. The beans are usually cleaned and bagged after drying to get rid of any lingering dust or chaff, silver skin. After that, they are packed and sent to roasters, where they are ready to be roasted into the rich, chemical-free decaffeinated coffee that we love. The green coffee extract, GCE, is a beneficial resource. The process is extremely sustainable because it is continuously monitored and replenished to maintain its flavor saturation and may be used again for numerous following batches of green coffee beans. Because this method uses just pure water and carbon filters for a clean extraction and does not rely on methylene chloride or ethyl acetate, it is particularly well liked for organic coffee since it preserves the coffee's flavor integrity.